Welcome to a Dreamer's Experience. Conquer the Chaos. My name is Sean Laurie, and as a father and forward and also an entrepreneur, I want to give you guys some tools and insights from either myself, my wife, or others that will not only help you be the best individual, but help you be the best parent and help you be able to conquer the chaos. So this week, guys, I don't have my better half, but I do have this amazing guy right here, Darwin Williams, who is a father, who is a mentor, who has a podcast, who, man, he's a coach. He does it all. So I'm excited to have him, here with you guys and be able to share some of the wisdom that he knows as well. So how you doing, man? How you doing?
Man, I'm great, man. Every day's a blessing, brother. I don't complain, man. I just, make lemonade and some just as much good juice as I can with the lemons that I'm given, in life, man. You complaining ain't never helped nobody either way. So you just take life by the horns, man, and just ride it out.
True.
Appreciate you having me.
Hey, anytime, man. Anytime. What I like to do too is when I have a guest on, Wifey's not necessarily a guest, so I didn't do it with her guys. But but I like to do an icebreaker. So I want to ask you, what is one of the things that you see your kids do that drives you crazy, but you know that you did the same thing?
I'm gonna be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing really, because of the fact that like they're little versions of me. Okay. So if anything, I'll be mesmerized. Like my daughter's 3, but I always say she's 27 in a 3-year-old body because like their intellect is just it's mind blowing. And sometimes like I find myself just sitting there watching like what just happened, like what's going on, and the fact that like this little person is communicating in this way, but the attitude or whatever it is they do is so familiar. A lot of times I can sit back and laugh. Yeah. I'm one of the parents. I laugh at stuff I shouldn't laugh at, but because it's just so like, what the hell? Like you just said that, but so I can't really say shocking because kids are gonna do what kids do, and especially if they're your kids. True. Like, how could you expect otherwise?
True. No, that's a good answer. That's true because I'll be honest. There's things my kids do. I'll be getting so upset. Like, why? Like, I'll be honest, man. I feel like a lot of times little kids are annoying, right?
Oh, kids, man, they something else. Hey, you know what? Not to cut you off, but as a parent, like. It's all right to realize. I be like, yo, they assholes sometimes. Like and it's all right to acknowledge that. Like that, it's a fact. Yeah. You're like, damn, I love my baby. You an asshole.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true, man. I'm like, come on, man. Like my son be all up in my face, gets bothering me, and I'm like, and then sometimes I just laugh because I'm like, I'm so annoyed, but I'm like, I know I did the same thing, man.
Right.
Man, that's funny though. But so I wanted to talk to you just literally about when it comes to our identity as far as parents and individuals, which, that can go in so many different directions. So I just want to get your thought on it. So I guess the first question I want to ask you is, how did you get your identity as a parent?
Man, truth be told, like I didn't grow up in the most like family orientated household, right? I have both parents. My mom remarried when I was 3, so we don't do step, nothing, half, nothing. That's still my dad. He raised me as his own since I was 3, but my father has always been in my life. So I got 2 dynamics. And so going through what I went through as a kid, when I became a parent, I was like, I'm not passing that down. And so when I knew that I was about to have a kid, and especially a son too, I made like that effort to change, like do those things to make them corrections so I didn't become a parent, or reflect the same type of parent that I had on my kids, because I know how that felt as a kid. Yeah. So I started doing the work before my son got here, because I realized like how much my actions and those things can affect my child, being a child affected by the actions of parents. And so when my son got here, I wanted to be prepared to do it as right as I can and not repeat the same things that I've seen, so he can have, because my goal is always wanting my children to just be children and be
Yeah.
happy children, but the work starts with me.
Yeah.
And so I was always mindful of that. And so I took that approach and knew that I had to do these things because I didn't have patience. Growing up, a lot of people told me like they were worried about me because I didn't have a gray area. When they say 0 to 100, that was me. Quick, I
Okay.
go boom and I see red, boom. And I knew you
Yeah.
can't do that to your children because children
Mhm.
are going to be children. They're going to do things. So your reaction is going to dictate or leave an effect when they get older. And so I was always
Mhm.
mindful of that. So, and especially again, if I'm having a little version of me, certain
Yeah.
things I can't just blow up when they do kid things. And so
Yeah.
like I always was mindful of taking the right approach when it came to dealing with my children, knowing that how I deal with this child can affect this child later on down the line.
I like that. I like so basically it sounds like to you were which you should be able to do or learn to do if you can't is be able to adapt. Right.
Right.
Especially when you have kids. You have to be able
Quick.
to adapt.
Yeah.
You have no
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah.
Right. Or you'll go
Real
crazy.
talk. Yeah.
You'll go crazy.
For
So,
real.
so, so because you do have experience with the youth, and I'm sure even seeing some with parents or maybe not even with parents, and I know you coach and things like that. What would you say, just from what you witnessed, what would you say a lot of the identity is when it comes to parenting in general? Like, do you think there is an
Um,
identity?
a lot of stuff that I recognize is a lot of parents
Mm,
are not like haven't matured enough to
mm,
where it affects like their children because especially like this generation is a very entitled generation. But with
true.
that entitlement comes they're easy to quit. But then I've seen parents, those same parents, just because a child doing child things at their age, they like, oh, I can't handle it, you don't want to listen. And especially working in the group homes, it's just like they just give up on them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, but if you look at the parent didn't really mature to that point as a parent. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And it affects the youth that they're raising. And
yeah.
it's just a reflection of what they're raising. And so
Mm,
and society is so quick to give up on them, these kids have that same mentality.
yeah. I like that. I like it's basically, as they say, kids raising kids, and that doesn't even necessarily mean having them at a young age. Just more so
It's
mentality,
just
right?
mentality. Yeah.
Like that's I like that. So then, what would you say then, as far as what you see with the parents? But like you say, you coach, work with kids in the group home, mentor, all that stuff. So what would you say a lot of the identity is for this gen? Like you said, a lot of them just they're still kids themselves, right?
Right.
So what would you say, just like um, kids our age or even a little bit older, high school, middle school? What would you say a lot of the identity, if any, maybe you don't even think they really have, but what have you seen? From the next generation, the generation that's coming up.
They don't know who they are.
Mm,
So
yeah.
they're trying to figure that out. Like
Mm,
like again, like I said, my family dynamic, I had to figure out almost everything, even till this day. I never had that like, oh, I can go to my parents for this and go to these people for this. So it was like trial and error. But of course, we grew up with a little more responsibility growing up at our age. But the generation before, I mean, after us, it's like they don't know who they are on top of going through everything that's going on in this world because don't nobody really cater to the youth as much as, they like to
yeah.
label all that mess, but it's not true. And
Yeah.
so they're recognizing that at the same time, again, going through that age, they trying to figure out who they are. And then the things that these kids got to face nowadays, it's like,
It's
it's
crazy.
like they got to grow up a lot faster
Yeah.
than they did. I mean,
Yeah.
than they should.
Yeah.
And at the same time, again, they're immature mentally. So you can't expect them to take on life without even understanding life. And with that comes, man, just the trials and tribulations that they face every
Mm,
day. So
yeah.
when they grow up unstable, it's like, look at the examples that were set for them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
True.
saying? Like I always say, our generation failed this generation because with our generation, I think we're like the last of the dying breed as
Yeah.
far as like the leaderships and the examples. Like we broke the mold.
Yeah.
The generations before us was do as I say and all that stuff, not asking questions. We came in kind of like no disrespect, but we learned to speak up. So we learned to kind of rebellious, but at the same time, we were still raised on principle. Then this generation after us, all we taught them and showed them was rebellious, but the principles went out the window. And so they grow up this way.
Yeah.
And so we have to correct that. It's up to us to still do that job. Because I look at, like, my kids have to look at this generation now. So it's still on us while we're here to set that tone and put them principles back in play.
True. No, that's strong right there. You actually said a lot too that made me think of just because obviously I worked with the youth too for a long time, so I've seen it all as well. So, what do you do as a parent when and I know it's a big thing right now, so I'm not trying to offend nobody, but I know what do you do when your child been a certain way for 10, 12, 15 years, and it comes home from school and says, hey, you know what? I identify in this group now, right? Or you need to, you need to refer me as this right now. Like, how do you handle that? Because right now, what is it? It's pronouns, right? Like now, like, you don't call me he, she, and all these, and that's just one. Like, there's so many different levels, right? Like, how do you handle that as a parent? Because, like you said, this generation is just more so. It's good and it's bad, right? It's because they're like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna push the limits on certain things, which is good. But then it's like, well, you made a limit when there was no need to be one, right? Like you created something that wasn't even nobody was thinking about it,
right?
So, it's just one of those things now. Like at times I joke with my oldest. I'm like, hey, how would you feel if I woke up and I said, you know what, I'm divorcing your mom and I'm a white woman, and I'm about to live my life, right? Because in her generation, she doesn't like, which is it's good and it's bad. Like, they don't want to offend nobody. They want to accept everything, right? And my daughter's in that generation, that culture, right? But when I said it, it was funny because that's when she kind of paused, like, I wouldn't necessarily like it. I was like, why? She's like, because that's not who you are. I'm like, well, if someone was this way this whole time and just woke up and told you that they're whatever, they're X now, why is it that it's a bad thing if we're like, hey, I'm not really feeling that right now. So I say all that to ask you, as just from what you've seen, how would you handle that, especially as a father as well?
I think it starts early, because I think a lot of times those situations come up when you leave it up to society and everybody to raise your kids for you. You know what I'm saying? Because it starts early. Because I always say, like, people change, but principles don't. Right?
True.
So we live in that society. And my thing is, okay, if this is the rule, let's go all the way, but we can't pick and choose, which is why there is never no fine line of understanding, because people judge it based off subjectively. Well, this is how it feels to me, but then when it's somebody else, it's a problem. So it's like you can't ask for understanding when you're not giving it. And at the same time, but I say these are my children.
Yeah.
And however I raise my children, that's me. I can care less what's going on the outside. If you want to tell your kids whatever, hey man, that's have at it. But as far as mine goes, that's my responsibility, because when it comes down to taking care of them, putting food in their mouth, clothes on their back, and providing money for the things that they need, them same people that's telling you to do with your kids, they not around. They gonna look at you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, and I'm gonna say this. A lot of people might get mad at me because I said it before, and I don't care. It is what it is. But like with my kids, like Christmas and all that stuff, like I teach my kids, Christmas is every day. Your birthday is every day. Right? Yeah. Because, like, and this is how I broke it down to my son. I said, would you prefer me to buy you what you want 2 days out of the week? Or if we go to the store and daddy got money and you want it right there, I just get it. That's just what it is. So when those days come around, it's no big deal to them, because even when it comes to like my birthday just passed, and a lot of people, like, they make it, the fact that I don't really make a big deal out of it, it's because to me, I celebrate life every day. And it's because I always say it's 365 days of the year, but 364 of those, I treat you like crap. Your life don't mean nothing. I disrespect you. But then on this one day, all of a sudden you matter and everything. Like that's not life. And
Yeah.
that's the problem that we are teaching these kids. Do my kids know about Santa Claus? Yeah, they know that they're about a part of this day, but they also understand that daddy and mommy or my grandpa, grandma, auntie, uncle been busting their butt to get me these things right here. And so then
Mhm.
when you put it in that context, they appreciate it more. My son is 9 and he
Mhm.
has toys since he was 5 and 6 now, still put together, still all that because he appreciated and because we raised him that way to appreciate the fact that like he knows where it came from and what it
Mhm.
took for him to get that. And
I
so
like
I said one day, if you still teach your kids that they're Santa Claus, don't
yeah.
get mad at them when they lie to you. Because what
Mhm.
principle, like what do you set it?
True.
We're in 2022 when everything is, you know what I'm saying? Like we changed the mode and we're raising productive human beings of society. So we can't continue. Yeah, it's cool. Like do all the festivities and all that stuff,
Yeah.
but tell them the truth
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's what we're teaching them. Practice
True.
what you preach.
I like that. No, that's true, and you actually made me think right now as well because my oldest, she for a while thought Santa was real, like 5th grade or something like that for a minute. But
Right.
I never like when she asked me, I never said yes. I was like, she was like, "Oh, Santa." I'm like, "Who?" I would say that all the time. Who that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And when she found out, she was so upset. She's like, "You guys lied to me." This, and I was like, "Your grandma lied to you. I didn't say anything." Right?
But it was a fact though, because it was a lie and she
It was.
understood that.
It
You know what I'm
was.
saying? Like, and
Yeah.
how you can't get mad at that.
Oh, yeah. I'm definitely not. That's why even my little ones, like, when they say something, I'm like, "I don't know who that is, but I can tell
Right.
you dad's gonna get you something."
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I don't know who you talking about. They like, "Dad." I just don't.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Because 'Cause I'm not gonna be the one where you be like, "Ah, you lied to me." Nope. I always made sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day too, I looked at it like, I'm not gonna let some fake person get credit for what me, your grandma, your aunts, your mom, your cousin, whoever, bust their tail to get to
Right.
provide this gift for you. You know what I mean? You should be thanking them and not some imaginary person. We don't even got no chimney over here. Come on. You know
Right.
what I'm
You
saying?
know what I'm saying? But it's because they don't understand like it's so much sacrifice that you made to make that happen. Your
Exactly.
time, the life, the time with them. You know what I'm saying? Your everything is you're making so much sacrifice like to provide that. Like, why would you? But again, there's a way of doing it. And
Yeah.
cool, let them enjoy
Oh, yeah.
whatever. Like it's cool, yeah. Santa Claus, yeah, he's a part of what's going
Yeah.
on. But this is the truth.
No, that's true. That
Yeah.
and let me put a disclaimer too for that are watching. If you're listening, you can't. Well, you can maybe email me, but those that's watching, don't comment talking about, hey, what you trying to say? Hey, it's cool that you have Santa. Do your thing. I'm just saying for me and for
Yeah.
Darwin, it's our
That's just me. I'm speaking my it's hard. This is just how I feel, and that's it. Whatever goes on in your household, that's your business. I respect it, but
hey, we party poopers. That's all.
that's
We
right.
gotta get it together. So I want to ask you too because you do coach, and so what have you seen? Have you seen those? At least I have. Have you seen those as like those crazy parents, right? That's excited. Don't get me wrong. They're excited. They're happy that their child's doing well. But have you seen those that pretty much if it seems that their identity is their child? So it's like they're living through their child.
Hmm.
And if so, um, if someone is struggling with that, what would you tell them to encourage them to get out of that? Because I've seen it before where, they're literally like, it doesn't matter what it is, it could be soccer, baseball, football. I'm talking about they like dressed up themselves. Like you think they about to hoop. You know what I'm saying? Like, wait, what? We got a headband.
Right,
Like you know what I mean? And they literally never even probably, played basketball or play, but they're really just like, oh, this is what I was supposed to do. But then that coach
right.
was hating on me, or I hurt my big toe, so that's the only reason. Because if it wasn't for that, I was going
I would
D1.
have went pro.
Yeah,
Huh?
so so and I feel like that's a thing too, where again, you should have pride in your child. You should love your child and
Hmm.
definitely support them. But I think a lot of times, as parents, it's easy for us to force our own agenda on them. Like, hey,
Hmm.
no, I really don't want to play basketball. I actually like to draw. No, put that pencil down. You about to get this ball and go outside. It's like, well,
Right.
that's not what. So how do you? And again, to each his own. I guess from my experience helping the youth, is really affected them, right? Because our childhood molds us, right?
Right.
It sets a lot of the foundation. And so when that child doesn't make it pro, when that child doesn't get that scholarship or whatever it is in that particular sport or that or whatever it was that you was really pushing them to do, when that
Mhm.
doesn't happen, they feel like a failure, right? They feel like they're not good enough. So how do you as a parent either A, do better at that or recognize that?
Um, as far as like the high school kids that I coach, I haven't. But what my son's been playing sports since he was 3, and
Okay.
so I've seen like a lot of times you can look at a kid, you be like, yo, this dude, he don't want to be out here. But the parent be like, and so I've seen that a couple times
Yeah.
where it's like, man, he don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And my biggest thing is fun. Like, and I know I play basketball. Everybody, that's my love, my passion. My wife, soccer.
Yeah.
And our thing, biggest thing, even like when I coached my son's team when he was like 5 and 6, and I will always tell every kid, if you're not having fun, I don't want you out here. As much, and I'm competitive, like I'm playing to win, but
Yeah.
the fun part to me is what opens the door up for everything.
Mm.
And so I'm like, if the kid is not enjoying themselves, he should not be here. Like
Yeah.
I would not, even my son, like his first game, he cried, man, and he didn't. And so I was kind of struggling with that. Like, do I teach him like,
Yeah.
nah, you don't quit and all that stuff, you sticking in, or do I take him out? So I kind of battled with that for a little bit until he started gradually just enjoying it. Like
Yeah.
as time went on, because I didn't want to force it, because knowing that I didn't want, I've seen people hate the sport
Yeah. Yeah.
after it because of everything. And it's like, nah, I didn't want that. But I've seen parents big time. Like I don't say it because I'd be like,
Yeah.
damn,
Yeah. Of
I
course.
it's not my
That's not
place.
your
But I'm
place. Yeah.
looking like, your kid don't want to play football, man. Like it's like while we're practicing on this side, he kicking the leaves over here, and you constantly got like, bro, just it's okay. Like your kid doesn't have to, or try it later or
Yeah. Yeah.
something. But like once you force them and take the fun, because especially at a young age, that's what it's supposed to be about.
Yeah. True.
It's supposed to be fun.
True. True.
And the fun is going to open them up to want to do these things. But my whole thing is building their confidence and learning their ability, which makes them enjoy what they're doing.
Mm.
But you have to, again, it's not about you. And like you said, a lot of parents make it about them,
Yeah.
and they living vicariously through their
Yeah.
kids and talking about what they could have did 20 years ago. And it's like your kid, it might be a part of you, but your kid is still their own person. And
Yeah.
so if they not liking that, take interest in what they
Exactly.
like, but don't force them to do that, because then they're going to grow up resenting you and hating the sport. And they
Yeah.
might have had the ability and missed out on the gift, but you took the joy out of it. Like you limited them. And so
True.
like parent, that's a big mistake a lot of parents. And I've seen it. I've seen it
Yeah.
at little kids mainly.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
man, like I said, I've seen it a lot, especially because I was in San Bernardino, and San Bernardino's not the best area. So a lot of,
Yeah.
which is understandable, but they're not in the best area, but they're literally like was like, man, this is our ticket out of here type of
Right.
situation. You know what I mean? And so I always say, like, as parents, um we shouldn't basically be trying to use our missteps as a way for our kids to be able to go up the staircase, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not the way we should be doing. Oh man, I slipped it. So go ahead, go up there. Like, no,
Yeah.
that's not what they that's not what
Yeah.
they want to do. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Again, we all have gifts. We all are talented, right? And just because your child can't catch a ball, or doesn't sound like Whitney Houston when they sang, or whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is that you're trying to have them do, doesn't mean they're not gifted in certain areas. You know what I mean? I think at times it gets hard for us, and I think also at times we're limited in our thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where we identify, especially in the Black community, unfortunately, it's like, you have to play a sport, you have to do music. Those pretty much what one of those two. Like, you need to do one
Right.
of those things. It's like, no, there's so many more things we can do. You know what I mean? Outside of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, man. I guess then any encouragement then for just a parent that's struggling when it comes to their place, when it comes to right, they might not be to understand their own identity. Like, basically their identity is just, I'm a parent and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Like any encouraging words for that parent that's like literally struggling where they feel like, you know what, I pretty much wake up, um, wake up, drop the kids off, maybe go to work, do the same thing every day. That's it. Like at the end of the day, I'm just the parent.
You got to find joy in it.
Mm,
Like anything I always ask, like, what's your why? Like, what's your reason
yeah,
for doing it?
yeah,
A lot of people, like, a lot of stuff that you name, they like, damn, your plate is full. How do you?
yeah,
My motivation is why I'm doing it. So I don't think about it. It's just what I got to do, and I get it done. But because I know why I'm doing it. But as a parent, it's you're all of those things. You're not just like a chauffeur or a cook or
yeah,
like oh no, this is like nah, this is what you signed up for. But in that too comes loving and caring, learning your children, learning they ups and downs and who they are as an individual. Because like we heard it a lot. You can have 10 kids. All 10 kids have 10 different
yeah,
personalities. They're 10 different people, but yet we try to take one dynamic and deal with them all the same. And it's like it might work with 4 of them, but the other 6 it's not hitting them the same. And then you judge the other 6 because it's not. It's like no, they're their own people. So you
yeah,
learn your kids, and that's just kind of like what I took. I watch my children and I learn my children. I learn their ways. They ups and downs will make them happy, will make them sad. Even like when they were like real little, and we especially black household, kid cry, stop crying. Why are they
yeah,
crying? Like
yeah,
like figure out why they're crying before you even jump to that conclusion. And
yeah.
and then as you learn them, you learn what their interests are, and then you
Mhm,
take interest in their interests.
mhm, mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And but as a parent, you just the way I look at it, I say this is what I signed up for.
Yeah, yeah,
My plate get busy. Oh well, this is what
yeah.
you signed up for. The kids didn't ask to be here. That's your responsibility. So you just have to like enjoy being there.
I like
You
that.
gotta
No,
enjoy it.
that's true, man. And I would say too, as far as like you said, like our kids are dealing with different things, and what we talked about earlier, being able to adapt,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so in that, I feel like it's so important as well. Like obviously, we are a parent, and that's one of the most important and special jobs that God has blessed us with. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, don't lose your own identity, right? Because when our kids get older, they're gonna do their own thing.
Right.
And you see it all the time. Afterwards, the parent is kind of like, I don't really know what to do next. Or they're
Mm-hmm.
trying to be involved in their kid's life. Like, oh, what are you doing? Who are you talking to? Who you marrying? Right. And they're
Right.
like, relax. You know what I mean? So I would encourage just to not lose yourself as well. Like still be the best parent you could be, but it's okay if you want to go if for the guy sports bar or girls sports bar
Mm-hmm.
to chill for, a couple hours, right? Or you want to go work out or you want to go for a walk or whatever it is that you enjoy. It's okay to do those things.
Right.
Don't feel guilty for doing those things, right? Just don't
Mm-hmm.
don't lose yourself in that process because I feel like that's what we do. And if we make sure we're true to our identity and keep growing and keep embracing growth, that's only going to help us as a parent to be able to adapt.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're focused just on parent mode, oh my gosh, you know what? I don't know. You stole a candy bar. And as a parent, I'm supposed to just do it this way. Instead
Mm-hmm.
of, okay, why did you steal a candy bar? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was younger, I stole a candy bar and it was because of X, Y, and Z. Right. And so really understanding, but again, if we're so focused on them, we can lose ourselves. And then we're not even thinking about this is what we used to do. This is
Mm-hmm.
why we did it. This is what caused it. Right. All these domino effects, because a lot of times there's so many things we don't even address ourselves that, let's be honest, that could have been, I mean, it could have been a great thing, but a lot of we dealt with a lot of nonsense too, all of us at one point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just growing up, that's just what it is. And a lot of times we don't address it, right? And then some other stuff comes up, and then we get mad or we react the same way our parents did instead of
Mm-hmm.
really understanding and digging to the root. That's what I'm all about. I'm all about like really like, okay, everybody wants to be on the surface level. Let's actually start digging, right? Let's dig and figure out why. What's the cause of that? What triggered that? And then
Right.
whoever triggered that, what was they going through for them to react the way they did towards you? You
Right.
know what I mean? Um, but yeah, man, yeah, I definitely just appreciate you. You
I
know,
know one of the things I heard somebody say, and it stuck with me. It's probably like the best parenting advice I've ever heard.
mm,
And they said, the best thing a parent can do for a child is remembering that we were once children.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I think that is what we get away from. Our
Mm,
kids do stuff and we chastise them as
mm,
if, like, yo, when we was that age, like working at the group home, that's the problem with stigma and labels, because working at the group home, is a certain stigma. And me working there, I'm like, them kids ain't no different from us. So then
yeah.
when they do things, and I'm like, this kid is 15, 16 doing 15, 16-year-old stuff.
Yeah.
How you gonna get mad at that?
Yeah.
Or you know what I'm saying? How you gonna judge them for that? They're doing exactly what we did, or the kids that we grew up did at that age. And it's like that right there is it's the, like, we always, with our kids, we always want a trust factor. And
Yeah.
I know, like when my kids, like, lying is bad, and they
Yeah.
know that lying is bad. But I tell them, I get mad when I say don't lie about things that you should not have to lie about, because I understand there's gonna be certain things you're gonna feel I gotta lie about. Like, I'm trying, like, I get that, like, but it's the things that you shouldn't lie about. Just come talk to me. But we have to open that door of trust, of communication, and not be so quick to judge them whenever they make a mistake, in order for them to be comfortable to do that.
Mm,
So,
true.
we got to do the work in order to pass it down, to set those examples. And we, as long as we parents, if you 89 and your kid is 60, the strength and stuff that you show is an example to show them that they can still get through anything, and that we never stop until our very last breath. We're always a parent, so we always gonna have to teach and set that example.
Exactly. No, I love it, man. I love it. You want to do a mic drop real quick?
Oh man.
I love it, man. I love it. So, but before we go though, I definitely want you to plug in some of where people can, get to hear some of your more your knowledge, your gems that you have, man. Like, tell the people where they can follow you or where they can listen to the podcast, all that.
All right. Oh man. So I got my IG is just my thoughts. JST my thoughts 83. I got merch. Hit me up. Shirts. I got hoodies. Man, it's really just a platform that I wanted to create for us to have conversations that we're not having conversations about, and it's
Mm,
just about life in general, mental health,
mm,
parenting. Because I've recognized that just universally, we waste so much time on junk and
mm,
things that are irrelevant, and that's the topic of conversations when real life is going on.
yeah.
We worried about what celebrities is doing when your close friend might be thinking about blowing their brains out, and all
Mm,
a certain text of, how you doing, man? I just concerned about you, blah blah blah. And we
yeah.
not locked in because we want to talk about irrelevant stuff. And those things, again, our children pay attention to these things.
Yeah.
And these are the conversations that we need to have. Like we live in the real world. 2022 stuff is not how it was then. Like
Mm,
everybody is just on notice, and we
yeah.
have to live in that space and open those doors and have those uncomfortable conversations in order to live in a comfortable place. So that's what Just My Thoughts is about. And the podcast with my man DeMarcus, from the hip. The link is in the bio on the IG, episodes on YouTube and Spotify. And we just talking about everyday conversations, breaking family curses, um, building for the next generation. Just, man, we had like great conversations with people that opened up about their past, just being creating a comfortable space, and about things that they've been through, abuse and things like that. Because again, these are the conversations that we need to have in order to get the future that we can continue to complain and ask about.
I
We
love it.
have to do those things.
True. I love it, man. I love it. Yeah, guys. So, but before I close out, of course, if you don't follow me on Facebook, definitely, you go Sean Laurie 87. But if you are in Texas like me, then it should just come up with Sean Laurie. But also Instagram and Dreamers Ambition. And make sure you are a part of the community of No Perfect Parent on Facebook as well. Yeah, guys, this will be on the all platforms as well. So if you missed this, you can listen to it. And I appreciate you guys just tuning in, of course, like always. And before we go, I have to remind you guys, I actually want to remind you guys to keep being an inspiration, never downplay your greatness and your impact that you're making for your loved ones, and just know that you're conquering the chaos. I'll see you guys soon.